Hello and welcome to this channel. I'm really excited about this because this is the first video I'm making of this sort. It is a sew with me video, and that means that I'll be taking you guys along with me when I make different recipes, different sewing recipes. So today we are making the Shelly bra. So the Shelly bra, it's from Pinup Girls. It's a really nice pattern to follow, I think. It's basically, it has this power bar on the side, and you can choose between different varieties, one with lace and one with both lace and fabric upper cup, and also one with just fabric upper cup. So what I've done to prepare, because I've made this one before in different varieties, and I have already adapted the pattern a little bit, not completely, but a bit. So what we have here are the pattern pieces for this bra. So as you can see, you have this front frame, which is the part that you have under the cups. You have the side band and back band that sort of goes around on the side. I'm going to show you an example afterwards. You have this power bar which goes up on the side of the cup like this, and then you have these two parts of the lower cup and this upper cup. You also have the strap. So this is basically the different parts of this bra. So here you can see an example. Let's see, it's a bit hard to show on camera. An example where lace has been used for the upper cup. If you guys can see here, you can see the power bar going up here. You have the two parts of the lower cup, and then you have the upper cup, and you have the frame underneath that goes around, and then you have this back and side band that ties into the fastenings at the back. You also have the strap going up here, which is adjustable at the back. Okay, so hopefully that illustrates a bit how this bra will eventually look. I'm going to work on a lighter material today to make it easier to see. So I get all my materials from a Norwegian online store. It is called Unique Sondai. The materials come in these nice little packets. It's very neatly compiled and put together. So I'm just going to open this with you guys and show you what it contains. So here we have our little parcel. I'm going to put that away. So this is a lace upper cup packet. I'm just going to take this out for you. So in this packet, we have a description of all the things that it contains. We have as follows. We have two different sizes of fastenings. You have these that are triple, and you also have the double ones, depending on your need for support and your preferences, really. Also, we have matching thread for this packet. We have boning channels for the underwiring of the bra. We have the underwire. You can get these in different sizes. They have this form that you can use to see what's right for you. We have an extra elastic that you can use, for instance, on the upper cup if you want it to sit a bit more closely. Let's see, and we have some decorative bands as well, elastics. They have this scalloped edge to just make it look a bit nicer on the edges. So this is the wide one, usually used at the lower parts of the bra, like around the band. And you also have this slightly thinner, but the same scalloped edge used around the straps, for instance, and the sides of the bra. Okay, and we have this packet of straps. Let's see. With the rings and the fastenings that you need to make them adjustable. And it also includes this little bow that you can put in front if you want to. And then there's the fabric. So let's see here. Since I ordered the laced variety, I have some lace that's used for the upper cup. It's a decorative. And we have some power mesh. This is elastic and is used for the band in the back. And we also have this duoplex fabric, and this is not very elastic. It's used for the cups and the power bar and the frame mostly. As I showed you guys before, we have the different pattern pieces. So what is next is basically to just cut these out of the different fabrics. Now I have just put the pattern pieces out on this duoplex. One thing that can be or is very important to remember is that all of these pattern pieces, it says how they're supposed to be placed on the fabric, and they're supposed to be placed according to the direction of greatest stretch in the fabric. So what's good is that the recipe says what direction has the greatest stretch on different types of fabric. So for this duoplex fabric, the greatest stretch is this way, along the selvage, which is here. And the arrows on the different pattern pieces, they tell us how it's supposed to be placed along this line of greatest stretch. Usually I would use weights also when I cut out, but again, there is something about these slippery fabrics where I find it easier to use the needles. It does sometimes create little bumps like this, but still. Because these corners and everything, I just want everything to be lying smoothly as I'm cutting. What is important though, make sure that your needles are really sharp, because this material in particular is quite hard to get through, and that's also important when you're sewing on the sewing machine. Make sure your needle is sharp, because otherwise it can just, instead of puncturing through, it just sort of shoves the material into the sewing machine. One handy tip is to get one of these. So these, this is to just sharpen your scissors. Very easy, and I would not get by with that one. So you just sort of put the scissors in and slide them through. Doing this a few times just prevents dullness in your scissors. You don't have to change them as often, and it's a lot easier when cutting. So handy. So now we have 4 of these strap pieces. So these will eventually be sewn double like this and turned out, and then will be attached to the adjustable part of the strap. I'm going to just get the markings onto the fabric. I sometimes use this, which is just it's well used, so you can't really see any markings on it, but it's a kind of chalk, liquid chalk marker in a way that I use for all fabrics that aren't white, basically. It takes a while for the markings to show up because when it's dry, it's lighter. I'm not sure if you guys can see properly, but I have just transferred the markings here. These letters, they say something about where the different parts meet. So it's important to get those onto the fabric. And finally, we are cutting the frame for the front. And this is on a fold, like I said before, so I just fold the fabric like this, and I put it on the fold, that way it's mirrored. I had to abandon the marker for this chalk variety instead. It just wasn't showing up as much as I'd want to. It's getting old. It used to work very well, but not so much anymore. Okay, so now we have one frame that is used for the lower part of the bra. Just like the duplex, the power mesh also has the greatest stretch along the selvage. And this is used for the band to the back. And you can see from this arrow that it should be placed along this arrow, or this arrow should be placed along the direction of greatest stretch. So that is like this. The sewing is just because I narrowed it a bit. It was wider around the circumference than my size, so I just adjusted the pattern slightly. I don't think the wheel works as well here, so I'm gonna use the scissors for this. It just snags a bit. Now the positive about these, I just want to show you guys, because these, this is a pencil that you can just use to get the chalk you need for drawing. It has a sharpener as well in this kit, and you get different colors of chalk. So depending on the kind of fabric and colors you're working on, you can always get a contrasting color. That is also quite useful. And there we go. So we have our two bars, well, not bars, but side bands, back bands, sorry, that are attached to the frame. Let me see if I can show you. So this is the frame. So on the side, these will meet, and then this will go into the fastenings in the back. And finally, we have the lace for the upper cup. So it's not a good background, this, but I hope you guys can see it all the same. This is the pattern piece for the upper cup. So this is where it's attached to the lower cup, and this is the upper edge. So what's important is that the edge, since you have this sort of scalloping effect on the top here, it's important that the edge here is similar on both upper cups. What's good about this lace is that, as you can see here, the upper edge is roughly the size of 3 of these scallops, which makes it a lot easier to mirror the pattern on both cups. Alrighty, so I think that looks quite identical. So we have the flowers in the same spots to make this look symmetrical. What I'm going to do now is to stabilize the upper part of this cup. I'm just going to sew on this thin elastic along the edge. So I'm just going to put this in place, and then I'm going to zigzag over on the machine. This is not exactly what the recipe calls for. So the pattern says to use stay tape or a strip of sheer cup lining. I don't have either of those, and for the packets that I bought, the material packets, this is always what's come with those. And as far as I've understood, this is something you can use instead. Please let me know if you have any input on this, if you've made this bra before and I'm incorrect. So now we have this piece of elastic at the back of the upper cup. So the next thing to do is to start assembling the actual cups. And we'll start by assembling the lower cup pieces. And here it's very important to put them the right way around, because they can look, as you see, they're quite similar, all of these pieces, so it's important to find the markings. So as you guys can see here, you have AA, BB, and then you have this line. So these are supposed to meet up. This line is supposed to meet up, and then these sides are supposed to meet up. So as you can see, there's a slight difference in length here, so we just have to adjust the fullness as we go. And these are the wrong edges, the wrong sides of the fabric. They're a bit less shiny, and we are, as usual in sewing, putting the right sides together. So you can see here, one side is slightly fuller than the other, so we just have to pin that evenly. And what I usually do here, and I'm sure there are many ways to do this, but I usually just put these, because these I know are in the place they should, and I find the middle on both of these. I make a small crease in the fabric. It's not big, but I can just about see it, so that way I know where the middle is on both of these. So as you guys can see, we have evenly distributed, at least somewhat evenly. This is a bit fuller than that one. I think it should be okay. And it's opposite up here, where you see the fullness is on this side. That's quite evenly at least. And then I'm just gonna baste along this edge to make it as easy to sew on the machine as possible. All right, so that's basted in place. Oh, this is a bit too puckery. We'll see how that works on the machine. If you can see here, if I stretch on it slightly, it does even out a bit, but I'll just have to be aware of that when sewing. The others here are quite small, so that should be fine, but I have to keep an eye out for this babo here. So now these two pieces are sewn together. I did get a small pucker here where I thought it might be difficult to get an even result. So I'm a bit unhappy about that, but I think I can press that until near oblivion. Other than that, it looks even. I'm just going to take this to the iron and press it. That's another difficulty about duplex, is that pressing it is a bit challenging because it's quite stiff and it doesn't press easily. All right, so now we have our two lower cups all sewn together. The seams have been pressed open, as you can see. So what remains of the lower cups now is to just top stitch along each side of the seam to just keep this seam allowance neatly against the back. All right, so both lower cups have been top stitched. Let's see. There we go. They have both been top stitched along the seam line. It was a hassle, which is usually the case with this fabric, but with some patience and a bit of tips and tricks, it usually works out in the end. So I'm quite happy about that. So the next part would be to attach this piece, the lace, to the lower cup. So the upper cup to the lower cup. That is the next part. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like below. And if you want to follow along and see the whole process and future videos like this, please subscribe to this channel. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.